Ryan, Russell Brand was on Bill Maher's show, and he was talking with somebody higher up in MSNBC. I don't know the exact position, but he said some things that sounded, I don't know, maybe like something we would say.
John, I've not known you long, but I love you already. But I have to say that it's disingenuous to claim that the biases that are exhibited on Fox News are any different from the biases exhibited on MSNBC. It's difficult to suggest that these corporations operate as anything other than mouthpieces for their affiliate owners in BlackRock and Vanguard. We have to take responsibility for our own perspective. I've been on that MSNBC, mate. It was propagandist nutcrackery on there. I went on the show called Morning Joe. It was absurd the way they carried
Good Morning Joe.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know what it was. It wasn't morning. There was no one called Joe there. No one could concentrate. They didn't understand the basic tenets of journalism. Make MSNBC better. Make MSNBC great again.
My friend, the moment that you give me a specific example, an actual example.
Okay, I'll give you one. Do you want an example? Do you want an example?
Yes.
The ludicrous, outrageous criticisms of Joe Rogan around ivermectin, deliberately referring to it as a horse medicine when they know it's an effective medicine.
Yeah, that's not a bad
Rachel
example.
Maddow turning up on the TV saying, if you take this vaccine, you're not going to get it, when it hadn't been clinically trialed for transmission.
Non-responsive.
You have to listen.
Wait.
Do you think you can improve America by
think we could
determinedly
all be
and
better.
avowedly condemning Fox News without acknowledging that you're participating in the same game? Did you not just listen to Bernie Sanders, someone who plainly, legitimately believes in this country and believes it's possible to change, but is bound by corruption, is bound by the lobbying system? Surely it's clear to you, Bill, as one of the great pundits and experts and comic voices, that systemic change is required. Money has to be taken out of politics. We need new political systems that genuinely represent ordinary Americans so that we can overcome cultural differences. And bickering about which propagandist network is the worst is not going to save a single American life, not improve the life of a single American child, not going to improve America's standing in the world, and the world needs a strong America. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that. So you have an obligation, a duty, not to condemn these people.
Other than, jumping on Bernie Sanders' coattails for a minute there. That was spot on.
Save Russell Brand.
Remember the article we read a while back? Russell Brand was listed as a far right. Here he is praising Bernie Sanders. We knew that. I mean, anyone who watched Russell Brand's know he's not far right. But the thing is, we're on the same page on a lot of different pages.
How's he going to say that, like, Bernie Sanders be a champion for him, but talk about new political systems when Bernie Sanders has been in politics forever? Oh, he's always been like this. No, he hasn't. Anyways, that's irrelevant. Fuck Bernie Sanders. He got bought and sold by the DNC in 2016. Like, everybody knew. I knew. He knew. Trump knew. Everybody knew. Yeah, billions don't buy Bernie, right? Ha ha ha.
Yeah, he was real loud about Big Pharma until, recently for some reason.
Yeah, Russell Brand, like, really throwing out BlackRock and Vanguard there on the Bill Maher show. It almost makes me wonder why he was allowed to talk like that. Is Bill Maher independently owned? It's on HBO, right?
It's on HBO.
Right.
He has a podcast that he owns.
Well, that's different. That's not like you can
But that's different. That's a different show entirely.
Yeah, like, I can't believe that happened. But then I also feel like they just let it happen because, like, it's just clowns babbling before the circus. Like, honestly, that's what I felt like watching. Like, as great as he was 100% right, as far as, like, his main tenets there at the end about journalism and politics and getting the money out and a strong America globally, which is interesting. Obviously.
It was funny because the MSNBC guy was like, well, give me a specific example. He's like, okay. And he's like, wait.
Yeah, and then the guy wouldn't let him talk. And that's what I mean. Like, I've talked about this. We've talked about it. They don't care. They know what they did. They know we know what they did. They just don't care, which is why they
know it doesn't matter.
And Russell Brand, great. I would love to meet this guy. He's a very interesting guy, but, like, he talks about the mouthpieces and everything. Yes. And, like, what do you think is happening when you go and speak like that right? You're going to be attributed to your audience the same way that the Fox News is attributed to the audience, right? That like he's talking about like getting over cultural barriers and stuff, as we should. But it's just interesting because we're all followers of these people.
Mhm.
Like we actually like in our rush to unite people, we're dividing ourselves because we're trying to stand for stuff. And I actually had this conversation with my little brother today, actually. And I told him it was a lot easier growing up because a lot of people had similar values, it seemed. Like we all relatively believed the same thing. You know, and now stuff seems so drastic. There's such a extreme range of thoughts, which can be good. But like in the grand scheme of things, you know, people I went to school with, we all went to church. Like we may have not like fully been the most devout Christians, but it's like, yeah, you should go to church, right? Like, yeah, America's good. Like these common things that we always talk about, right? The back to the roots a little bit.
Yeah.
It's reminiscent of that. And that's all, I don't know. I guess Russell Brand, like, we got to save that guy. I can't believe he's allowed to talk like this, but maybe they let him talk like this to be the clowns. You
did point out one thing, though, which I think is right. Russell Brand is very, very, very close. Super close. But the one thing he's missing is what you pointed out, which is that guy at MSNBC doesn't give a shit. If he cared and he legitimately didn't know, maybe he was just bad at his job or something, and Russell Brand's like, well, what about this and this and this? Then he'd look back at it and go like, oh my God, we're going to have to make a change. The guy's not going to make a change because he doesn't have to. He doesn't care because there's a reason they're the mouthpiece, right? There has to be something in it for them.
He's talking money out of politics. Blackguard doesn't buy politicians in the stock market. They just buy all the companies. Like that's outside of politics. And who is Blackguard? Who's Vanguard? Blackguard put them together. Who is Vanguard? Who is BlackRock? They're faceless. They're a corporation. There's trust running the corporations that are probably run by trust in corporations. You need SEAL Team 6 to find these. Literally, probably the FBI and CIA to find these people. It's beyond money and politics, man. We're talking geopolitical government. And I know Russell Brand's beating this wagon. He's talked about eating bugs and the World Economic Forum too. But like to think like the only way America falls is globally, which is why I thought it was interesting that he brought that up, because that's the blade that killed America. Was this geopolitical, like that when we started jumping our influence, we got infiltrated.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. That was an awesome clip though. Even though I do think it is just for the circus. Dave Ryan.
I was gonna say it was refreshing to see though.
Yeah, you don't get truth like that distilled, watered down. I don't know how long this exchange was, but you don't get like truth. He's so eloquent, right? But he just seems he's far out there, or riddled with addled from drugs or something. You know, like it doesn't make him wrong. You know, but you don't get distilled truth like that. You really, that's a thing. That's an ending era, and that's exactly what he's talking about. Just like this episode, Dave Ryan, December 1773. Catch us Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. David will be there. I will be there. Yeah, and I hope you be there. I'll see you guys later. Thanks, David, for your time as always.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Later.